I'm strong in faith.
Faith can move mountains. Radio Maria 91.3 FM.
The voice of truth.
Hello, good evening. It's Child Protection on 91.3 FM Radio Maria with the child's advocate, Madam Momoh. This evening we're looking at something we started on Tuesday, talking about abuse by teachers, abuse by peers, and abuse by seniors. These peers, these seniors, these teachers are all found within the school environment and even beyond. Back home, some come to the homes to teach remedial courses. Some also are friends to the family. Some live in the neighborhood and all of that. And on the program, we're talking about child protection in terms of ensuring that the rights of a child is protected. The right of the child is always projected, and we stand for and by it. We're looking at child protection in terms of the environment. Is it motivating enough? Is it stimulating enough? Is it safe for the child? Is it enabling? The environment can never be separated from the individual or the human being living in it. What about those who have been abused already? What about children who have already fallen victims either of sexual abuse, child neglect, physical abuse, emotional abuse, substance and drug abuse? We can go on and on the different forms of abuses. In a situation where this has happened, ironically, you may say those may be forms of abuses not found in schools. All forms of abuse are found in schools. They happen right in school. So the school is just a stereotype of an environment where you could talk about child abuse. Ironically, the school is supposed to be one of the most protected environments for a child, most controlled, most protected. Just like the home is supposed to be the custodian of protection for the child. But is that what we see today? Not at all, far from it. That's not what happens today. The very one that's supposed to be the custodian of the child, that's supposed to be the guardian, the protector, the police, the one that keeps the child safe and always on point, most of the time turns out to be the very scene and platform on which the child is ripped off, abused, neglected, dehumanized, and in some cases, fatality. They die. So let's see, we're going to look at the steps that can be taken to control the abuse by teachers, mainly today. As we have very great teachers, very wonderful teachers, teachers who have dedicated their time, whether properly paid or not, teachers who have even had to pay fees for some of their students from their meager salary. We also have some of them, just a handful of them, but that are very destructive and they need to be nipped. So we shall be talking about that today on child protection. Coincidentally, again, I have a wonderful parent who's a big fan of child protection. He's here with us, just stepped into the studio. Mudiaga Ogboru, you're welcome to child protection.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We are always glad to have you, caring parent. So we're going to be back in a jiffy. Don't go away. Thank you very much. I like that. He wants to be the next star of Nigerland. So we want our children to be, by the grace of God. And we believe that the schools we pay all the fees to and put in so much trust in will not disappoint us. Great schools out there are doing it for us, just that a few will need to sit up. Back again to our topic for today, steps to help control abuse by teachers and some of these other peers as well as seniors. What are these steps? We're going to look at them. We have basically any school or institution that is set up has rules and regulations abiding teachers, good personnel, good environments, and all that it takes to have a school laboratory, library, classrooms, workshops, fields, and lawns for sports. All of them are put down there to make sure that the school has the right environment for learning. And then the Ministry of Education will come in and inspect to be sure that all these are put in place. If not 90% to 100, at least a lot of them that will not hinder nor hamper learning. And one of the important things you talk about when you're trying to put, a school in place is staffing. Staffing academically, staffing administratively. In that case, now you're looking at the teacher and you're looking at the admin staff. You're looking at the management staff. Basically, in Nigeria, to teach, you should have the NCE, National Certificate in Education, or you have a bachelor's in education, or a bachelor's in an art or science subject and education. This is a qualification that would permit that you be employed in a school to teach. But there are times people crash in for one reason or the other, no job, or they just found that they have a flair to teach and would want to be in the school environment, and you say they should go for a postgraduate diploma in education. Am I right, Mr.
Yes,
Mudiaga?
that's it.
Agboro?
That's what
So
I'm saying.
the end result is that you must, and you are expected to have some qualification, some background knowledge, or post knowledge of education. So you'll be disposed to handle these delicate, wonderful responsibility gifts God has put in our hands. So in a situation where you want to assume that everybody has the training, everybody has an idea of what it takes to be an educationist or a trained teacher, you'll be making a very serious mistake. Because even those who have been trained as teachers, going through the 4 years of education training in the university or 3 years in the NCE, still need to be guided. They still need to be put on check. Therefore, coming into an environment like this, it is very important not to take anything for granted, but look at the possible policies that are already on ground. What has the government put in place to check teachers and other staff or members of staff in an institution, right from the playgroup up to the university? There should be child-friendly policies. There should be policies that will protect both the child and even the teacher, as well as the proprietor. It shouldn't be a one-sided thing, because like I know that there are great teachers who have done their best, and for one reason or the other, because they are not protected, were also victims of their goodwill. So we should talk about policies that will guide this institution to ensure that some of these teachers don't take advantage of those loopholes and become bullies, exploiting the children, making sure that they unleash whatever bad manners, because some of them came from homes too that are dysfunctional. We cannot rule that out. We can't rule out the fact that some are from dysfunctional homes and have not been able to correct, because at times people can come from very dysfunctional homes and they have, epic character. Attitude is superb.
Yes.
Because correctively they have told themselves, or correctionally they have told themselves, I have undergone this, I will not allow another one undergo that.
Yes.
What do you think about that, Mudiaga?
Yes, there are a lot of people who do that. They are aware of the fact that what they went through was wrong, and so there is a deliberate act to correct it. And that's a very good mindset, because it helps the society. And that is the kind of mindset we should have. Yeah. Even those who are correct should remember to extend that good, nurtured upbringing they have and extend it to others.
Good.
The Bible says we should let our light shine before men so that others could see it.
Yeah. The good deeds.
Benefit from it.
Yes. and praise our Father in heaven. So you see, we need to put in place these policies, these rules and regulations to help guide both the teacher and the students, as well as the parents. But for me, it is not enough. I feel it should be in writing. As you get your employment letter, there's something attached to it, an undertaking that you will write. You'll be in short, you will be asked to take it home, go and study it, and then come back to either give it to us or walk away. You are allowed to walk away, because the moment you sign it, you have signed in to something very, very serious. Yes. Especially as we know now that with the VAP Act and the Child Rights Act, things like 14 years are rolling around your neck, and some life imprisonment, depending on how serious the issue is. And at times, maybe some death penalty. Exactly. So good for you to go study, look at it very well, and get back to say, yes, I'm in.
Yeah, do your self-probation.
Exactly. Thank you. So we also will talk about these institutions who would want to address the complexities in character. The person could come and say, yes, I believe, I agree, I really want to get in, and I'm in, I'm not going to go anywhere. But as the person is talking to you, you're seeing maybe what you didn't see during the interview. He throws tantrums, he snaps, he's impatient. Maybe you deliberately take him on one ride in terms of story or ideology, and then you're watching, you're psyching him up to see, is he patient enough to see which way he's going? Assuming somebody is doing this, how would you handle this? And you're watching to see whether this he has put right on writing here, rather in writing, will he keep to the tenets, or he has just come in search of a job. He's desperate to hop in and hop out. Where that is noticed, you have to keep your eye on that teacher. You have to keep your eye on the teacher. A teacher who gets many reports, on him about incompetencies in terms of handling the school records. The school register, for example, we talked about it. Has he already gone to drop the register with the vice principal when it is not yet after break? Because he takes the first stroke, which means baby is in school this morning. And then by break time, he's now supposed to complete the other side to say, yes, after school, after break baby also reported back. Or he's the impatient type that will just give the 2 strokes and do everything. Total number of students present, 100. Number of students absent, 0. And then he drops it at the table. How does he handle your scheme of work for the children? What does he do with the assignments? Does he give them enough assignments? Is he following the scheme of work the way it is? Which we explained here the other time, that the scheme of work is a combination of the curriculum and the syllabus. And then that the examples on that scheme are functional and they are true to what the environment is for the children to understand. Is it the accommodating type? Is it the patient type? All of these you will have to look at. Are you tracking the person's competencies? Did you check the sexual gender-based violence book domiciled now with the women affairs and NAPTIP? That's a new trend that was not there on the rules and regulations before now. But we now have it, and that's why we have to be updating from time to time. We have to update. You don't remain static as a proprietor to say, I have everything it takes. You don't have everything it takes, because rules and regulations are coming out depending on issues as they roll in with time, age, and all of that. Does he come to class with his phone, distracting children? He does not only use it to make calls. At times, he could also get mischievous with it. So, should he come into class? Other teachers are leaving their staff room. They tuck their phones away. This particular one wants to probably bluff or entice some girl somewhere, and he comes with an iPhone or an Android phone, and then he's feeling cool. What do you say about that, Mudieka? Is it right for a teacher to come into class with a handset?
It's not right for a teacher to come to class with the handset for many reasons. Not just for the secondary school where the teachers come from the staff room, the primary school and then the lower age school, the teachers being in class with the phone. What contents are in the phone? Kids can be so close to you, and when they start browsing your phone they can easily memorize your pin without you knowing. Once you open your phone twice before them, they've memorized your pin.
You're right.
And by the time they start browsing your phone, what would they see? How do you regulate that? So why not keep it away? And besides, you have signed off that time for the child. Your phone will only be a distraction from you giving the child 100% attention. Sorry about that. The phone will only, like this phone just gave me a distraction now.
Yes.
The phone will only give you a distraction. You can't give the child all. There are things that will pop up on your screen that will take your attention. And before you know it, you are there. That's the way the phone works. The phone has a psychology of its own. And if it's controlling you, it affects the child also. If you start doing all these things, it won't be good. You are, let's put it this way, stealing the child's time, stealing the child's attention, stealing the child's fees, because the child has paid for that time. I think your phone should be with you during break, away from the children, and after that you should get back to the children.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oboru. You see the implications of going to class with a phone. You're stealing, you're robbing, you're marring the child's future, and that is not something to play with at all. So at this point we come to the next point, which is sanctions. For a teacher who has taken an undertaking based on the policy, government policy, the policy of the school, and the rules and regulations of both the school and the society, because in some places the culture of that place comes to play. And you're told that culturally, let's assume you are in a Christian school, you're told what the culture is, the ethos, what controls the faith of that school. Or you've come into a Muslim school, you're told this is how to dress, this is how to carry yourself. Or you are just in a school that is neither Christian nor Muslim. Like in Nigeria, we say we are free.
Yeah, free or
to
secular.
Yes, we are secular. To you can belong to the Christian or Muslim, but when you come into school, everything is secular. You play a neutral, role here. But there are still morals. There are still acceptable values in the society that you must also maintain. So in a situation where you do not adhere to all these, then there should be clear-cut sanctions spelled out. Of course, I want to believe that every school proprietor knows that there should be a disciplinary committee.
Yes.
Peradventure you break these rules, you will have to pay. You will have to face the consequences. Even before the legal part by parents or society, CSOs or NGOs will run in, the school has already set in place and, set rolling the disciplinary committee section handling whatever you have done that is not right.
Yeah, I've seen this in some movies where the teacher is found to be guilty of something, and then we see a board and the teacher is called before the board and they say, after this whole thing, I think that should be obtainable here also.
Very, very important that the disciplinary committee is not just for students.
Yes.
There should be disciplinary committee for teachers, for staff, for academic and non-academic staff. We're going to talk more on this, and very soon we'll have you calling in, because this time around we want as much participation as possible from you, our great listeners. Please don't go away. We'll be back. Yeah, welcome back to 91.3 FM Radio Maria, Child Protection. If you're tuning in for the first time, our topic has been a very simple one, but very, very crucial. The steps to take to help us nip abusive teachers, peers, and seniors in schools. Looking at the vicinity, looking at the environment. You want your school to be the best. You want your school to give you the best results, get the best students, win all the great competitions out there, turn out great students that will become our leaders tomorrow, ensuring that we'll have all of these economic sustainability, all the good things we want around the world. But as we move on, talking about sanctions, there has to be somebody to notice that this teacher deserves some form of sanction.
Exactly.
So in your staff organogram, you have the president or the owner of the school or the proprietor, you have the principal, you have the vice principals, academic and administration, you have, some people have even for discipline, and then you have the heads of department, the teachers, as well as the admin staff, some of them linking up horizontally, vertically, as the case may be. Now, the vice principal administration is supposed to be directly and indirectly involved in the discipline of both teachers and students. Discipline now means not just because we're planning to bring them and start punishing them in school, but the rules and regulations are to be followed. And you could aid them by, in the morning, there are 1 or 2 nuggets you give to the children at the assembly. And of course, the teachers will pick, a clue from that. They always know that when the VP admin is around your window, the other class, the adjacent or opposite to your class, takes a cue immediately to say, obviously, I don't want to believe that your school can be a marketplace, because there are some schools you come to, you do not know that there are pupils there. There's dead silence other than the teacher that is talking or a child that is answering or responding to some question. While there are some schools, right from the gate, you begin to look for the articles that are being sold, where they sell the okra, ogbono, or igusi. You begin to, because it has the ambience of a marketplace.
Yeah.
But ideally, we know what it should take, that a school should be serene, quiet, the environment should be such that learning can take place with the minutest distraction. So the vice principal academic is running after the school scheme, the classes, and all of that, the subjects that are being taught and how they are taught, the lesson notes and all that. While the vice principal administration is also out to watch, to see, when did this teacher come into school? When did he get into his class? When did he come out of class? What is he doing with his time? How is he handling the students? The ones that are probably under sanctions in class, maybe a child is sleepy or noisy, and the teacher says, now stand up and just make sure you don't get distracted anymore. Be looking at me as I'm demonstrating on this particular concept. The vice principal administration is ensuring that the teacher is not saying pick pin and the whole blood is flowing towards the child's brain. The child is somersaulting and sweating and shaking and shivering, and the child gets back home sick. The vice principal administration is ensuring that for some teachers who would want the children to kneel down, they tell them go and kneel down outside on the wet lawn. While they are kneeling down, the next period, is up. The bell has gone. The children are supposed to go in to take, maybe he teaches English language. He punishes the children through English language into math. Is that allowed, Mr. Nudiega?
No, that is not right. That's not right.
So the vice principal administration is supposed to control all of that, to ensure that apart from the rights punitive measures being given, and now we don't even allow the word punishment anymore, it is correction. They are corrective measures. So apart from when it's corrective, it's even right. So apart from that corrective measure being given, it should not spill into the other person's class, because your right ends where the other person's right begins. Same for your class.
It shouldn't lose the essence of the correction.
Good. So for every correction, you expect some positive change in the child's character. By the time you're making the child lose that class because of your correction, and also begins to lose the next class, who's going to pay for that? So you see, all of these are measures we'll look at to say we have to ensure, with the help and the direction and supervision of the vice principal administration, that these teachers, these students are doing the right thing at the right time in the right place. But does that now mean that the principal will sit down in her office or his office from the beginning of school till closing? No, there should be some spot check, some surprise.
Surprise
You know,
checks.
the vice principal administration is coming from the right and she appears from the left. We need to do all of these because these children have been put under our care for the best and optimal results. In case you're tuning in, please, we'll be expecting some contributions out there, some of your opinion, which we treasure very much. You'll be calling us on 081 084 475 18, 081 084 475 18 on 91.3 FM Radio Maria. Now, I would want you to tell us one or two things, Mr. Ogboru, on this role of the vice principal and how it will boost your child's performance and also your joy as a parent.
All right. Okay, that's really great. The vice principal moving around.
Okay, hello, sorry,
I have a
Mr.
call.
Modega, there's a call there. Hello? Hello?
Good evening.
Good evening. Please, could you tell us your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Mary Essin. I'm calling from Abuja.
Welcome, Mary. Abuja as a whole. How's Abuja, the whole of Abuja?
The weather is somehow dark this morning.
Okay. Yeah, so let's hear you, Mary.
Yeah, actually, I just listened briefly talking about disciplining children in school.
Okay.
Yeah. You were saying that even if the teacher wants to discipline the child, they should not even allow it to extend to the night class.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to even discipline a child at all that has to do with depriving the child from the lesson.
That is the question.
That you have to do. I'm not against disciplining child because these children sometimes can be punished, but not depriving them from taking the class. There are other ways you can discipline a child, but not even depriving them at all from your class or any other class.
On point. Thank you very much, madam, for that. Yes. The child was sent to learn. So as you're correcting the child, that's why I keep using the word, it should be corrective. As you're correcting the child should be getting better. The child should be improving. The child should be understanding your subject better.
Not losing.
Not losing, not distracted, not crying and wailing and even disturbing other children. Your correction should be for the good of the child. That's the point. Thank you very much. Yeah. So sorry, we missed that call. It's okay. So Mr. Muliaga, sorry, you were saying something?
Yes, I was saying it's really important, the vice principal, the control, all these control measures are put in place and monitored. The principal, the vice principal, as the vice principal admin, it's very important. Let's take, for instance, a class is going on and then the teacher is writing on the board and then a child, assuming we've not corrected this phone issue, now a child has gone to submit a document.
Okay, sorry, there's a call again. Yes. Hello? Hello? We missed that call.
Volume.
Gone? It's okay. Maybe you'll be luckier next time. Let's go ahead.
All right. So if there is a third eye, that person inspecting carrying out these spot checks, you could see a child doing something that the teacher may be busy on the board writing. The teacher might not be seeing it. That eagle eye could spot it and help address the issue. The teacher might be doing something wrong. It's never out of place for control to continue. Control measures, spot checks, each and every time, every hour of the day. They should be roaming, not seated in one place, updating records. The records might be fine, they might be neat, but the products from the school, if they don't reflect it, then it's not important. Our society today is a reflection of what we have gone through.
Yes.
From childbirth up to now.
So you see, it's not going to be too much for us to ensure that we enforce these, right attitude, right professional ethics. When it comes to any form of any field at all, especially the one that gives us the human resources that we need. Yeah. Because what will differentiate the zoo from the society is the way the human beings have been harnessed and brought up, the way they have been raised to handle both the zoo and the society. So again, it means that we have another set of people. Other than the vice principal administration and the vice principal academics and the principal, we have what they call year heads.
Okay.
We also have heads of department. As a head of department, that is to say, let us take, for instance, head of mathematics department or dean of science. You also will move from your office round because you have the timetable of all the teachers in your department and you know who's teaching what at a particular time.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you getting into the class even properly.
And even see if they are up to date in their scheme.
Yes.
Because they might submit something on their register.
Precisely.
And what is happening in the class is
quite
not
different
up to what they've submitted.
This is it. And then, apart from that, is it the examples he put there you went through and felt that, he's done a perfect work? Are those the examples he's using? The points he put down, are they the points he's using? It is very important that we do all these because that is where the whole case of he knows very well he did not handle this subject properly or this topic properly, and then he begins to want to apportion scores the children do not deserve, and then he begins to want to ask for something in return.
In return, exactly.
The case of abuse creeps in. Come, girl, you didn't write well. This particular thing you didn't write now. You didn't write it. It's not up to date. It's not up to the points are not good. But anyway, we shall talk about it when you do the right thing. And the child says, do what? So, okay, go now. If you don't want to understand, it's your business. They do it there in the universities. Thank God too that government has come up with some good policy on that.
Yes.
Many people suffered in the hands of their lecturers. They were stripped. They were ripped off. They were victimized. Some were, that is completely destroyed emotionally. Some got depressed. Some even committed suicide, as a matter of fact. Just because somebody somewhere did not do his duty, did not carry out his duty very well. Good for us to check. And when we check, we'll be helping the teachers too. Because he knows that HOD is going to check, the dean is going to call unexpectedly, I better sit up. So the vacuum or all of those lapses that would have come up because nobody will check, they don't even care, he has even driven out to go and teach in some other school or do some extra runs and everything. And me, I'm doing my own runs. And at the end of the day, who pays for it? The children will pay, the family will pay, the society will pay. And even you, the culprit, will also pay because what goes around comes around. These are all the horrors that go with indiscipline, that goes with unethical practices in an educational institution. And for parents, you should also be part of the monitoring team.
Exactly.
What do you think?
Yes, we should be. When you see the assignments and all that, sometimes even how the assignments are marked. You begin to check, you'll be able to check the competence of the teacher. You'll also be able to check the assertiveness of the teacher. You'll also be able to check if the teacher is concentrating or
yes.
losing form. There are some simple expressions you expect the teacher to know the answers, but you notice over a period of time, the teacher is beginning to mark some right answers wrong and some wrong answers right.
Wow.
Not because the teacher doesn't know it, but something is beginning to go wrong. With the parents concerned and the let me call them control team also concerned, we can easily spot these. The teacher might be going through depression, through some psychological trauma or one thing or the other, and these are the little ways with which we see these things. Control can help us spot this, and a little counseling to that teacher will help the teacher perform better. Control is important.
Very good. Thank you very much. Which means that parents have a very huge role to play.
Yes.
It means that your eyes should not be off your children's exercise book, workbook, notebook. You must be part of it, whether you are in the sciences or not.
Yes.
You pick it and see whether you like it or no.
Even,
or not.
Even the development book where they develop sums, the processing, because there are some shortcuts that kill children forever.
Good.
If you don't see it and help them understand this is the full process, they will not get it. Some of them begin to look for ways to avoid the subject entirely because the only thing they knew about those subjects were just the shortcuts
that the teacher taught to escape. So you also would know that it's possible that you may say, but I am not a science person and I have employed or I've gotten a lesson teacher to handle that for me. What do you have to say about that as a parent? Is that an excuse not to look into your children's notebooks?
It's not an excuse at all. It matters a lot because you just have to see it for yourself and know that everything is going right.
Yeah.
If you leave it to assumption, you will end up making an ass of you and me. Assume, us, you, me. So if we leave it to assumption, then we've left the system to make an ass of ourselves. So we have to keep checking, and confirm that everything is going right. And once it's right, then we'll be fine at the end of the day.
Thank you so much, sir. You see, talking about the arts of parenting, these are some of the arts that you must learn. If you never knew about it, that checking on your children's notebooks, checking on their work, their classwork, even checking on the one you pay as lesson teacher is as important as paying the school fees, is as important as saving your child's life.
Yes, it is.
Then you will sit up to it. Because whether you have paid, no matter the number of millions you think you have paid and that covers it, how sure are you of the personality of the person you're dealing with? There was a clip that went around, but most of us had to delete it from our phones because now anything pornographic around kids is a crime. Otherwise, this grandfather came out to sneak on the grandchild or the daughter, maybe, you never can tell. That's supposed to be, having a private home lesson. And what he saw
was out of the books. Was
very, very unholy. He could not believe it. And it was obvious that was not the first time because of the way it was going. That was not the first time. And of course, we know what came out. Of course, that teacher did not, I don't think he lived to tell the story. But the point now is the harm has been done, as I will always say that even if the sanction is death penalty, you too have also lost your child. So would you wait for that kind of disaster to strike before you sit up and begin to play your role? Because what goes for you is way more than money. You must also go as the human being, and not just that as a father or mother of that child, and not just that as a friend of that child, not just that as somebody that has a stake An expensive stake as that. That this treasure of mine, that I'm ready to give up everything in the world to preserve, nobody dares play around it for me. And when they know that you have called this bucket, this is my drinking bucket, or this cup is for drinking water, it's not a flower vase, so you cannot put earth, sand, and whatever in it. Rather, it's kept clean, sparkling clean, because this is where I drink water from. That's how they will keep that glass for you. But if you keep it where maybe the waste basket is and something, somebody will throw it into the dustbin and say, oh, it's meant to be discarded. So you want your child to be discarded, or you want your child to be nurtured and cleaned and kept as that vessel of honor. Who is your child? What is your child to you? What do you think you want to make out of that child? Who do you want to make out of the child? And what do you want society to make out of the child? All of these are for you as parents to answer. The proprietor, your school, you invested very, very, very much, not just because you want to make money, but because you have passion to build. You have passion to create, the passion to give the society these leaders, these great minds that will make Nigeria better, that will impact on society and the world at large. But for those of you who have put up your schools to make money, you have put up your schools because you hear it's very lucrative. If you build a school now within 6 months, that is not a school, dear. A school that will give us these results we're talking about must have invested some good money. Am I right?
Yes, you should have.
You're looking at the library, the laboratory, the classrooms, having, I think the Ministry of Education gave something the other time. Somebody should help me out there. I think about 22 students in a class,
Okay,
in a particular specification and all of that.
For the area.
It's not, we're not talking about the ones that will put 200 students in one hall, like sardines or whatever.
16.
No, we're talking about schools that follow the specification given to them and want the best out of the children, because the parents have seen the private school and the public school and have chosen to bring their children to a private school to have this, optimum attention for their children. That is not to say that we are turning our faces away from government, because we should also know that it's not a crime to be poor. And even using that word poor, I detest it. These are citizens that should be helped, but we know what is on ground. As much as we are struggling to ensure that we give this education, this standard of education we should have in the public schools, a lot still has to be done in terms of the quality and the standard of our public schools. There's way much to be done. But for those of you who have collected money from parents to give this quality we're talking about, then we should live up to expectation. We should be able to nip it at its bud to ensure that teachers sit up. Because that the children, you see, I'm not talking much now about the seniors and the peers, because we should be controlling the environment. If we control the environment, the misdemeanors and the misbehaviors of the children will be reduced to, the barest minimum. Because at that point, your eyes are on them, the parents' eyes are on them, the church's eyes are on them, the mosques, the imams are on them, the priests are on them. They know all eyes on you.
Yeah.
No, there's a t-shirt, all eyes on me. Yeah. That is to say, better behave, maintain. Yeah, in the pidgin parlance, they'll say maintain, that's behave. Don't take anything for granted, because we are not joking here. We're talking about the fact that we need to reorientate our children and get the society back on its feet. So we will not want to condone all of these misbehaviors, all of these shortfalls from people we expect much from. And that's why we are putting more of the pressure on the teachers, on the school administration, on the school management. Exactly. That is not to say that we are explaining out the reason for which a child will be sent to school to come and learn. He becomes a bully because he's a senior, or he becomes an extortionist, or he becomes a cultist. All of these, ask those who've been there before, they will tell you it is woe. There's no other benefit other than disaster. That's one thing that does not have an advantage. Hooliganism, vandalism, violence. There's no advantage. So you better go study, face what you were sent to school for. The school rules and regulations are there to guide you as a senior. You know your limits, you know your bounds. The teachers are there for you to report cases to. The school teachers are there, the school principal, the counselors are there to talk to, and you do not take the laws into your hands. So as we're talking about the school teachers, we're also talking about the housemasters. What we're saying is all round, holistic, right from the assembly, and that's why we started with the register. How do you handle your register? How do you handle your scheme of work? How do you handle the child's workbook, the child's textbook, the child's notebook? And there's somebody watching and also ensuring that you're handling them right. How do you handle the children when they get back to the hostel? How do you handle them in the refectory? During sports, where are you? Are you with them? Or you allowing them sneak around and do things out of mischief? Or just singing away? The games there, the sports there, will keep them healthy, will pull out for us to see evidently their talents, their strength. And sometimes we also want to talk about the entrepreneurial skills that you pass on to them right from the primary school. Because the idle mind is the devil's workshop. So for these seniors not to be bullies, for the peers around the family not to be bullies, for them not to have so much time for mischief, you have to engage them. If you take a sharp object away from a child, you must give an object that is safe. What object are you giving to the child not to engage in mischief? Entrepreneurial skills, skill acquisition processes. Right from home to the school, we should begin to teach them, minds that are curious to learn and to contribute to the society. What do you say about that, Mr. Modega? Because we're rounding up now.
Yes, it's very key. Actually, if you're idle, then you'll be planning mischief. We know our hearts ordinarily, but the Bible puts it this way: the heart of man is desperately wicked. Who can know it? So if we are not hearing, if we are not learning, if we are not practicing what is good, what happens to this mind which the Bible has described as desperately wicked? It will get lost. So we have to deliberately, consciously put in something positive and productive, which will, for our own good, benefit the society, and everybody will be happy, and everyone will have a Merry Christmas.
Wow. So, all hands on deck here.
All hands on deck.
All hands on deck. We're not joking here. We're not playing here. We're talking about these entities, this embodiment of blessings, potentials. Fill them with capacity, fill them with knowledge, fill them with good things. And of course, what do you expect? What you put in is what you get out. That there's every need for us to stand for our children, making sure that what they go to do in school yields for us what will help us in the society. And at the end of the day, we get the best and we're smiling and we say Nigeria is great again. Remember the other time I was talking here, I reminded us of what Barack Obama did. He thought of it, which way to go to revolutionize the American economy. He thought of education. And then he said again, how? He thought of the new world, which is the cyber world.
Yeah.
He thought of what to do with the internet, what to do with the cyber world, what to do with all of the innovations there online.
Yeah.
And he said, we have to put these children on the right path. And he made sure that every institution in America did not play with that. So this distraction around them that is supposed to be a great blessing is a distraction because we are not channeling it right.
Yes.
And that is the last part of our talk, that we should make sure that we control the use of the phone, the use of the internet, the use of all of these online things to yield what it should give us. It has every great thing you can imagine. You
Very
can
great
school.
potential.
Great, yes, great potentials, great offers there that will transform our society. And of course, like I will always say, Singapore has done it. Rwanda is doing it. We can do way better and greater if we play our part and ensure that our children give us every single thing that has been deposited in them. They are great. Nigerian children are great. Remember that the best mathematician in the world is a Nigerian child. We know, of course, Professor Ngozi Iweala and all others. We have them there. Wole Soyinka, they are all Nigerian children. Forget that they are now elder statesmen and women, but they were once children. So we have the potentials. We will keep having the potentials. Everybody must join hands to harness them and give us the best as we have always been. Thank you so much, you great parents out there, wonderful teachers, proprietors, and all of you school staff who have done wonderful things to take care of even the needy children, the indigent children, the ones that even came to school with, because some children come to school with serious domestic problems, serious problems from home, dysfunctional homes, and there are teachers who have made the sacrifice and put in so much to ensure that these children became properly orientated. We thank you so much for all that you've been doing. There's a rewarder. Never ever lose hope. Keep doing good. Thank you, Mr. Mudiaga. I must say thank you. Bye-bye.